Excellent, ladies. Welcome to this roundtable. Today we're talking about memory, and you're gonna soon understand why is it important for you to learn about memories, and why is it important for you to understand that this interacts with the ability of us to make a decision. Those of you that do not come in these things, this is purely for you. If you have valid reason not to come, you can see a replay. Yet, when you see a replay, it's not really easy for you to be able to interact. And again, this is mostly then the same thing like going to YouTube, see a video, and not really be able to interact. I see somebody raising the hand. Francesca, I'm gonna have you hold your comment. Can you hear me?
No, sorry.
Oh, okay, good. I thought that you needed something. Anyway, cool. So today we're talking about memories. We're going to analyze, first of all, why do we forget? And why is it important for you to understand that, it's normal that you forget. We get this feeling all the time that sometimes, especially when you are affected by perfectionism, you tend to want to remember everything, to want to schedule everything into your life. And if you don't do that, then you get really not only annoyed, but worried about, I need to remember that. I need to put this into my schedule. The body that we have, like the mind, the brain, it tends you to want to forget things, not because it's a bad thing, but because it's important for us to remember only the thing that matters. Okay, it's like a hard drive. If you forget the things that you don't necessarily need to remember, you can rest assured that this is not something that you need for survival. It's not something that you need not only for survival in general, but probably not even for survival of your situation, of your job or anything, because otherwise, by nature, you would tend to store this information. Now, we are a sum of the memory that we have. Every time that we make an action, we put that memory into this hard drive, and if we want to keep this memory and we want to make this memory valuable, we will tend to store this into long-term memory. Okay. Now, I don't want to come here and bore you to that and say, okay, we're going to analyze the brain and how it works. I'm really going to only analyze a few things today, which in my opinion, really makes up our mindset and the ability of us to take in decision versus not taking decision, but also give us the ability to then, quantify the choices that we make or to make right or wrong choices. I put here a graph, and this is, you soon understand why I did that. And apologize in advance about my poor drawing, capability, like at least to do that. But as you see here, this is kind of like a graph that on the side here is basically the impact of our memory on the moment, right? And then on the side here is the time going by. As you see here is 20 minutes. This is something like an hour. This is something like, what did I write? Yeah, 1 day. 1 day and 7 days. So as you can see here, we tend to remember everything that happens, but really, really vividly for about 5 to 10 minutes. When you see 20 minutes, is already half of it is gone. When you have a day, most is gone, and when you have 7 days, it's pretty much you don't even remember, right? Now, how do people quantify that? They did experiment, and obviously a group people was asked to kind of classify a experience on the dentist. So all of you been to the dentist. If you go to the dentist and the experience is pretty painful or uncomfortable, right? You would quantify it. You would remember this experience, and you'll be able to, if I ask you, Francesca, Leah, Silvia, Maya, how was your experience yesterday in the dentist? You'll be able to tell me something, right? Yet, the experiment was very fascinating because they quantified the pain that happened on the last 5 minutes of the experience, and then asked the person the whole experience versus somebody quantifying the whole experience in the pain. Meaning, like, let's say that you were really, really painful. The whole thing is 2 hours long, and it was painful in the beginning, but then the last 5 minutes was kind of like, okay. People tend to answer something such as, yeah, it was kind of like not too bad. Yet, when somebody adds something like, say, taking off a tooth, and like as soon as it finishes, you pull off a tooth, and like it's been the last 5 minutes, that's really, really painful. And people tend to quantify it as really, really bad experience, right? So we tend to remember, and again, I'm pretty sure that if any of you, work on the dentistry, or like, you have patients and you have people dealing with, those kind of situations like such as really painful and uncomfortable things, such as, maybe, aestheticians as well, because sometimes it's kind of uncomfortable. Like, you would have that. Like, you can ask your person, how was that experience last time, right? And if they came to you, let's say yesterday, and then they're gonna come to you in a week, you can try next week and try to make this uncomfortable process, in the beginning, and you will see that people would react really much better, right? And again, this is a defense mechanism. Your brain doesn't want you to remember over time that this is a shitty experience, right? And why does that? How does that impact everything in our, like, everything in regard to health, but everything else in our life? I'm not gonna go ahead and talk about whatever else in your life is going on. I'm gonna talk about whatever you're doing here, and this impacts 100% when we work out, when we feel physical pain, but also when we see intangible pain, meaning like when we don't see results and you feel like, oh my God, why am I even working out for, right? I see other people in this group are getting results, but for me, it's not working. Why this happened, and again, I did talk about that a little bit, in one of the past roundtable with most of you weren't here, so, I'm more than happy to redo it, is for this that you see on the bottom. This is the action plus time kind of graph. And as you can see, it's the total opposite of the other one. So the effect of the thing that you do in life will always compound at the end. And this could be 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. It could also be 1 year here, right? And again, I'm not saying that none of you will see our results in 1 year, but I'm saying that luckily somebody that does the work, we have a few examples. I just spoke with Sylvia yesterday, and Sylvia, in my opinion, did like, when I saw her results, I was like, maybe she hasn't been so much consistent, right? But yet she told me I did the work, and as we can see, after 6 weeks, her results are not positively so much showing, right? Then there are some people that after 3 weeks are already seeing results. But why? How is this memory interacting in all these things? And again, I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna put all these marks here, which let's make this like a week, right? So let's say we take an action today and we work out and we build a very strong memory around that today. Let's say that this is like a day, right? We built a memory of not being successful or not seeing results. Yet we say, I'm gonna try tomorrow again. So I'm gonna try one more time tomorrow. I'm gonna keep trying, and maybe you see slowly, this graph going up a little bit, and you see, and you're like, you see this going up, but it's still like I'm putting in a lot of work, and the motivation is supposed to stay high, but it doesn't, because like I keep remembering so vividly that I'm not getting results. And on top of that, you're constantly reminded from other people, like in the field, and only in the field, but also in people in general, from Instagram, from Facebook, that you should look like this particular girl, because it's so easy to look like them, right? As long as you do keto, intermittent fasting, as long as you do something else than you're doing, you're gonna get successful, right? So we're constantly reminded and misled from a lot of things that we should get results, right? But when you see the memory here telling you that, okay, I'm gonna remember that I wasn't successful today, the only thing to get to that result compounded that you need to get in the end, that again, this could be in, by the way, this doesn't have to be in 6 months, doesn't have to be a year, it could be a couple of months, right? But when you have people dealing with this idea that unless I'm not gonna see results, I'm not gonna stay motivated, as you can see, this is the problem. Because you keep building strong memory today about you not being successful, and as these things never overlaps, because as you are 7 days in, you already forgot what was success, what you want to be successful about today. So let's say that you went workout. Let's say that you did a very good workout. You get some good muscle soreness, and you know that you're doing very well, but that doesn't show results. And then you see somebody else getting results, maybe in the group. Then you say, okay, cool. I'm gonna do better tomorrow. Yet in a week from now, you already stopped. You already forgot what actually was working. Right? Now, the other problem is that if you have physical pain, and again, this pain that I describe right now, not seeing results, is the one that's going to make most of the people, not in this program, but in general, quit. This is not about like real pain. It's about mental pain that, is this idea that you're never really able to see the compound effect of everything, right? And again, another thing that memory doesn't, like, let's say you are a person that goes to the gym and then like you get yourself sore somehow. And then like you would say, okay, this is the pain. It's very vividly how I remember the, my pain today. I will remember tomorrow. You remember it again. And then as you keep going, this pain goes less and less. But as you build these memories and you're like, if I'm not going to see results, I don't want to keep getting myself sore. Right. And on the same way, funny enough, when this whole idea about memory, this is also done with other things, such as, and this is mostly not for so much for the memory, but for the, for the compound effect of everything. If you are able to build a vision and you're able to do that well day by day, not expecting our results, and then the results, it will show, because like we keep seeing this happening into this group. And every time I see here Shanika, for example, I see Leah, for example, that, people that has been here a while, they get results despite them do the work. I said to them, remember specifically with Shanika, in the beginning, I was like 6 weeks, 7 weeks in, maybe 10 weeks. I said, keep doing it, because you're going to see results. And now as we all see, the results are showing. If you do that, right actions, doesn't matter the results, you're going to compound at the end. This is also work, by the way, for the negative things you do. You saw somebody, or somebody that got their hair, unfortunately, maybe sick, or somebody that, that has something, and you ask out of the blue, how did they get, for example, cancer? How did they get diabetes? How did they get that? This is the compound effect of things that happens. And like people not, and I'm by no means I'm diagnosing and say, okay, if you have any of those particular things, or if you know somebody, that's why, because they eat bad or they don't move. Yet the action you take on a daily basis will have an impact over time. And like you're not going to have a proportional impact. You will have a compound impact at the end. And this compound impacts is enough for people to then start questioning and say, okay, how is it that I feel like I hate healthy? I do not lose whatever. And then like one day, like, maybe somebody, oh my God, like this person was going to walk every day. And now look at that, they have this particular condition, right? This is the effect of compound effect of the action and time. Yet people don't see it ever, and this is the problem, because when you don't see that, is that you keep taking random action. Like you're taking things that you're not supposed to take. You're taking things with the mentality of saying, okay, cool, I'm healthy anyway. It is not a big secret, right? You're all here to be healthy, but the reason why most of you are here is because of a deep issue. Some of you, binge eating. Some of you, low body confidence. Some of you, body image. Yet, those triggers are the ones that are in the, like they are deep, but they're still in the surface. Like fixing those, you're gonna get an amazing body. You're gonna get an amazing lifestyle. And yet, a lot of people don't rarely think about the health part. And the health part is like keeping yourself sane. When you can hit 25% body fat ever or lower, like statistically, you're very much almost, unless you have from genetics, you have almost like impossible to get any disease unless you get hit by a bus, or something like that. But anyway, otherwise it's mostly like that. Yet, when you get there to maintain that, and it keeps being proven, that I keep hearing podcasts, I keep looking at studies, and they keep being, if I see a study new today, it's like 3 years old already. I keep looking at things such as how to maintain those things. Set points are so difficult to maintain. The only way for you to be able to trick your body to maintain those results is that if you fix your lifestyle. Okay, so if you're not going to take anything home from this roundtable that you should take today, it's really the ability to say, I need to do something despite me seeing the results. And so you want to be tricking your memory for that. Okay, because if you think vividly of what happened today and I don't see results and I'm going to quit, or I'm not going to do the work, then it's difficult. It's difficult because you basically go on kind of something that is intangible. You don't really go based on what you should do. You're doing something based on results or instant gratification. The last thing I want to talk about, and again, today it's not going to be a very long, because I really want to hear some of you if you want to interact and talk about this thing. The thing that is fascinating for me, and this is also something to do with the memory, is that, as we tend to do memory always on the short term, we also tend to forget something very fast, right? As we saw, in 7 days, everything is already forgotten. Now, as everything else, you tend to forget the thing that works. And this is fascinating because I want to say maybe 10 years ago, man, 2000, yeah, but let's say before the 2000, maybe 17, 18 years, something like that ago, there wasn't all this stuff that we have now. Like there wouldn't be 10 advertisement on Facebook talking about keto or whatever, this thing, or everybody that can be some kind of a therapist or somebody, or everybody they can make up, unfortunately we have, because, it would allow me to actually be able to build what we have. But otherwise, in order for you to be able to learn these things, you had to go to a gym, and there wasn't all this instant gratification thing that we have right now. There was this idea that you have to work hard. You know that you're supposed to eat healthy. Whether or not you know that you have a caloric deficit or whatever, this is something different. But you would have all these diets that you'll find right now online even for free. Like you go on Google and you Google, I want to have paleo PDF about a meal plan. You can find that. Yet most of the time, whatever, as in US they say whatever brought you to the dance, you will forget, because whatever worked, you will forget. And you say yourself something of the nature of, I lost weight that time. Let's say that your goal is weight loss. I lost weight with a keto or a paleo or a carb cycling, but it didn't work. And it's not that it didn't work. It's that you forgot, first of all, what worked, and you forgot and you didn't assess why you quit. You didn't assess why this thing wasn't sustainable. Because otherwise, I can assure you that it worked. Because otherwise, like, losing is easy. Much like putting on weight or putting on muscle, it's technically, when you do the right things, it's easy. Yet, if you don't maintain it, it's not because that doesn't work, it's because you forgot the reason, or you didn't assess, or you were not sure why you decided not to continue, right? So with this being said, it's funny because I tried maybe every single diet under the sun, except from those that are really ridiculous, such as pineapple diet. I would never try something like stupid like that. But anything like low carb, keto, I try metabolic diet. I wish I could cannot share my screen with that because it's not on a phone. I could show you all the books that I have here. It's like all of them are like dead diets, and I really like to try. Funny enough, I will never sustain one for more than maybe a month, right? And this is because, again, most of them work. The thing is that you cannot sustain it, and you say to yourself, this doesn't work. I mean, the diet is unsustainable, but technically it works. So I remember that the leanest I ever been, and it was something like, I think like 9%, and like for a very long time I was 11% body fat, and that was 9%. I got there by eating, and again, maybe today that would be called something like, because it was still really low calorie, but it was really, really healthy. Like it was almost like broad type of food, kind of like bodybuilding type of food, like having either pasta or rice in the beginning with tuna in whatever. If I waked very late, I would have, or if I wake early, I would have like a protein shake or something like that. And then when I got to the night, I would really not eat carbohydrates, or I would eat carbohydrates only on the form of vegetable and fruit. And then I would, if I would not be able to sleep, I would get something such as, like vegetable under oil with some more protein. And again, I was running probably around anywhere from 1,200 to 1,500 calories of that. That thing, which is basically portion control, it worked and got me to that particular situation. Yet, sustaining is something different, right? But now people fall into this trap, and then like they try this, it doesn't work, and then they say to themselves a story and say, okay, this didn't work because of that. It didn't work because of that. So let's try something different. Most of the time, you will forget what works, and this is why people, it's not good to reattach to the memory, but it's also not good to forget, because you will forget what works. So before you really, like, as we know here, we're trying to always, we have our rules, we have our our whatever methodology I feel like are the best, which is something of the nature of flexible dieting, but also probably something around scientific proof, and also of course around the logistics. So those of you that are not, that don't like numbers, I'm never going to have I'm never going to talk about tracking food for you, or like those of you that love number and but also love to see picture, you can do something like level 1. Yet I really encourage you to try to remember back in your days, or whatever that was, the first time that you did the diet that works, remember what works, because that probably is like whatever worked the better for your life. This is probably the approach you want to start with. Of course, with supervision, we can do this together, and again, it's mostly out of the ability for me to be able to tweak it a little bit better. But yet, things always work. And if you sustain a specific results for a little bit, it worked. There is no reason of you trying something totally different, such as the opposite, such as low carb when you like carbohydrates, or the opposite way around. Memories will trick us and fuck us up more time than you can imagine all the time. But you need to really, you need to say that you're in control. Like you are in control of your thoughts, of your memories and everything. It's really a choice, okay? And with this being said, I feel like, most of the thing you need to know about memories. Oh, yeah, that's exactly what I was forgetting. Why do we tend to attach ourselves to negative memories? Is because of the thing that most of you coming into this program, you saw a webinar from me, and these are two scales, right? This is like a same scale, right? That you would see like a kind of like a scale, and you put some rocks into it. This is kind of like a balance scale. This is a scale when you have a negative experience. You put some rocks into this, and the negative rocks are always more than the positive rocks. You will tend to build a scale, like you take a scale and you put rocks into it, into anything that happens into your life. Nature of, let's say you go right now, let's say that you used to be looking, let's say according to your idea, you looking amazing in a bikini. It was what you were looking maybe 2 years ago, and now you somehow, from bad habits, you lost some of it. You put some weights on or whatever, and you want to look like that again, right? According to your bikini, according to your own. Nobody said anything to you, but let's say that that's what it is. Let's say tomorrow somebody, I don't know, your partner, your friend, somebody said something about it, and they tell you something of the nature of, now you kind of like lost your shape a little bit, right? Maybe teasing you, maybe nothing bad. You will attach a negative memory about it. That particular experience will put a lot of rocks into one thing, into the scale. As a result, you will try to compensate it. Like you would say, I'm going to try this to fix this problem. You succeeding versus not succeeding on a approach, nutrition, diets, whatever, it will build another scale and you will put some rocks into it. If the experience is not like you want or you expected, you will build more scales. So now I put 2 scales here. Imagine there are like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just imagine like so many scales in different experience. Some of them they look like that. Most of them they will look like that, right? You have, and all these things together combined is the identity you're building. Your ability to say to yourself or allow yourself to believe that you're a perfectionist is the combination of all these skills, is the addiction of all the skills. If you're a busy person, or if you feel like you're a busy person, again, I will make a very extended video tomorrow live on my, not in this page, on the page, like the regular page, which I will link into the group. If you're a busy person, being busy is the biggest excuse in human history to not achieving anything. And like, this is, and we can go, I will dive deep into why I don't believe on that. But like, when people say that, is an identity you acquire, you decide to acquire. Because I can assure you that you all have a favorite TV show you like to watch, or scrolling on Instagram, and like, you would find time for something that you want to do. Yet, when something is not valued enough, is always too difficult, right? So being busy or being shy or being emotional eater or being something like is an identity somebody's building. So it's very, very important to understand that, the scale that you're building, you can change the rocks around and you can make the scale, go on the other side all the time. More rocks you shifting, more ability you have. You don't believe me? Some of you which are not here today, were binge eaters for 15 years or 10 years or whatever. And the past 2-3 weeks, they didn't binge once. Why? Because fixing the physiology of the body and fixing the ability of you believing that it's possible, that happens. And now it's all about rinsing and repeating and making sure that you build a positive identity and not a negative one. If you are a binge eater, if you have a bad relationship with food and you're here, chances are, if you were anything like me, you've been to a therapist and they told you that you're broken. Or they told you, okay, this is okay, what is the main childhood problem that you have? And why do they say that thing to you? Is because they always only see psychological problems, but they never really looking at the basis. Are you eating enough? Most of the time you don't. And then like you say yourself that you have a problem of, yeah, you can eat definitely for stress, but like, is that the problem? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. So it's definitely a multifactorial approach that we need to take into the future. Ladies, this is it for me. Like, this is what I wanted to talk about. And I feel like this was mostly what you feel like you want to hear. I don't want to, again, bore you to death and talk about why the brain makes certain decisions. And I mean, these things, I was in school for so many years, and I know what it is when somebody's listening to something. It's like, I don't feel like it's pretending to me. This thing that we talk about today is 100% pretending on you. And I know it's impacting everybody, and you do need to take at least something home from this, which is basically saying, I'm going to do something for my vision and not because I want to see results, because otherwise it will mess you up simply by your thing that you're remembering. So does anybody wants to add anything? Obviously, we have some more time today. I can unmute you, like you can raise your hands. I can just unmute you based on, that we don't have so many people here, so we still have 10 minutes. Does anybody want to say anything? Just have to raise your hand, like nobody? Yeah. Welcome, Maya. Glad to see you.
Hello. I'm wondering, like you said, like you can trick your mind.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by that? Like, how can you keep up having motivation for a long period of time, other than just knowing that one day you will see results? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So there is no hack to trick your mind. The only thing that you like is like that people that are really successful, at least in here, like I have experience, not only in this one, but also, of course, I can speak for experience when I was training people one-to-one in the gym, which was a lot less impactful, in my opinion, than what we did here. The people that have real results in general, like most of obviously really people also here with binge eating disorder and everything like that, is people that don't have another choice. Because you don't allow yourself to have another choice. Because the other choice is too bad. Meaning like saying to yourself, okay, if I'm not gonna do it because I can, otherwise if my motivation is, meaning like if I don't see results, I'm gonna lose motivation. That's you're giving yourself another choice. Yeah, and again, I don't know about, we didn't talk so extensively about your situation, but you don't want to give yourself another choice. You don't want to give yourself another option and say, okay, I can also do it this way. Because again, you don't have ever 100% certainty on something, but you can get very close. Meaning like, I know that if you're going to put your mind into it for about 6 weeks, 10 weeks or whatever, you will see an amazing result already. But that then, depends what the results is. If it has to be something tangible versus intangible. If you want to see numbers going down, that can happen after a week. Yet, there are going to be weeks that you put the work in and you don't see anything, just to see something maybe 3 weeks from then. And if you go into this idea that, oh my God, like if I don't see it every time, I'm going to quit, you're really setting yourself up to be very difficult. It's something that you want to, like the compound effect of something, it will always happen over time. And again, this is the only way that I can maybe answer. I don't know if it's good enough of an answer, but that's, obviously there is no way to trick your mind. In my opinion, that the body works like that. More you know about your body, your brain, your mind, more you can make sense of things that happens into your life, and you say, okay, now that I know, I shouldn't be paying attention to that. This is also how you remember when we talked about binge eating. When we know that when we keep our physiology in place, then there is always a 30% chance only about that. Then we 100% sure that we still need to focus on whatever our brain does. Because if I put here in front of you something that you like, I don't know, chocolate versus salad, the hands taking one of the two is the same amount of energy. Yet it's very difficult to look at one and say no, right? So it's like it's mostly your mind which you need to not trick, but to train. And how do you train that? Like not taking the wrong food, or not snap at somebody that you're comfortable with, or not getting crazy when you're in traffic. This you do probably, in my opinion, by meditation, which is like, depends what kind of meditation you would want to do. But what I really like to do is, like I said, I think us on the last one roundtable, is like really find a quiet place, meditate for 3 to 5 minutes. This is enough for me. You focus on your breathing. Anytime your minds leave the current situation, whatever, like you start wondering and thinking about other thing, you put it back into this. You keep putting it back into your body. You really feel that. It sounds dumb and stupid, but for me it works a lot. And like every time I do that, you do that for a week, 2, 3, whatever. Like you need to do it obviously more than a little bit, more than at least like a few days. You will start to see your thoughts. You will start to be in the present moment, and you would be like, oh my God, like why am I doing that? Why am I getting crazy for something I cannot control now? And this is try it for believe it. Like, I mean, you can try it and maybe it doesn't work for you, but definitely made a huge difference for me. And this is kind of like how you, I don't know if you want to say trick the brain, but how do you control your brain better? You know, it works for pretty much everything. Like you can give it a shot. I will make in the future, as I'm rebuilding the video, the site, I will make a real module about, you know, meditating on that sense. Again, I don't have so much experience on meditating in yoga and anything like that, but for that, you know, if I can spend 5 minutes of my day and getting this kind of results and control my trigger better, I would say that this works well.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I hope I answer. There is no cut and dry answer for that.
No, it's a good answer.
It'd be nice to know, you know, like how to trick really the brain better than that. Does anybody want to add anything? Like we still have 4 minutes. Then otherwise we're gonna have you click one more time if you wanna. I mean, I'm here more after that if you want to ask more question about anything. Does somebody want to add anything about this? I'm gonna mute everybody because it might be that I'm not hearing somebody or seeing somebody. Does anybody want to interact? We don't have so many of you today. So hopefully, like anybody?
No.
Nobody. All right, cool. So then I'm gonna have you all go either to sleep or to eat or whatever that you need to do. But ladies, thank you so much for actually being here. And it was really important for you to get this part. For those of you that are gonna see this replay, please, I cannot emphasize this enough. If this lady find the time, you know, try to find it as well. You know, is respectful towards you, the group, mostly than me, because I have to do this anyway. You know, that if somebody can be here, all of you should be. And again, this is mostly for you. You all invested into yourself for this. And you know, information you could find it online for free. And that information we give you, in my opinion, is better. But then it's not about information. It's about becoming a different person. And it starts with you saying to yourself, I'm going to allocate some times for these things that is important for me, because I can guarantee you all watching this thing, like when you achieve what you want, maintaining is going to be a pain in the butt if you don't understand what the mindset is. And this as understanding at first, you need to make time for this call. If you're not in the call, see this video, comment below, and let me know what this whole thing was about for you. More you comment, more this thing is going to go on the top of the feed, and this way is going to allow everybody to really interact. Ladies, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
And we'll talk very soon. You know, I think hopefully even the next roundtable, hopefully is I'm gonna have Leila present. You know, like the lady that some of you saw in our event, which we're gonna try. I have a very powerful roundtable, and she would like to. I mean, I asked her to talk about getting out of the comfort zone and something like that, which I know that everybody needs here. So. Hopefully we can do that before the next roundtable already. Otherwise, it's going to be nuts. But anyway, thank you so much for your time. We'll be in touch and keep up with the work. You're all doing amazing.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Jerry.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.